Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising, chances are, as of you watching this video, you've been hit in your life with a major curveball, whether that has been an end of a relationship, a major change in your career, some even being required to now move or change where they live. Something has hit you hard, and that is happening for a reason, because as of today, we have entered eclipse season. The energy of the eclipse portal is open and hitting us with fated changes and destined events. So in today's video, let's dive into how eclipse season of September of 2025 is affecting you and how this is all a part of your soul's purpose. Hello, my wonderful Pisces, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Isabel, your spiritual rebel friend, and today we are talking about eclipse season of fall of 2025, specifically active around August 23rd and active throughout the month of September and even further. Technically, people even say that we can feel the effects of eclipse season even falling 6 months after, as it creates a massive ripple effect on our life. But we can feel that energy of that stone being thrown for that ripple starting now. And so in today's video specifically, I want to cover the lunar eclipse in Pisces happening in September, the solar eclipse in Virgo, the other planets that are affecting this eclipse season, and how this will affect you, so the advice you need for this month ahead. So again, this is not just for September, although this is predominantly, so to say, your September of 2025 horoscope. This also encompasses the energy that is present as soon as August 23rd with the new moon in Virgo. And if you have not checked out my video yet, talking about the new moon in Virgo happening at 0 degrees, that is your opportunity for trial runs in your life, I invite you to check that out. I'll be sure to remember to put it in the card up above. Now, Pisces, before we go into your horoscope and get more of a data-oriented approach to this month or more ahead, I want to remind you that you're one of 2 signs in the spotlight this month. Overall, you are one of the signs in the spotlight this entire year. You and Virgo are heavily being challenged to grow and transform, just as Aries and Libra have recently been over the last year and a half. You guys are now in the spotlight because as of January 11th of 2025, the North and South Node have entered your sign. And so really, for each sign, when they are in the spotlight, there are 2 major months where life can feel very challenging and very transformative. The first month for you was back in March of 2025. Now the second month is here, September of 2025, where you can experience the greatest changes yet. And these may bring up themes for you regarding things that maybe have came up last year, even for you, when we had our last lunar eclipse in Pisces, the first of the set. So in today's video, we're going to talk more about what exactly this whole idea of you being in the spotlight is all about, what you're being called to transform, and of course, your advice for this month ahead in these lunations, because this is all about giving you practical guidance. And final 2 notes. 1, this video applies to you if you have a Pisces sun, moon, or rising, and secondarily, this is just going to be based off of your Pisces sun, moon, or rising, which is only one of your many astrological birth chart placements. So if you want to dive deeper into how exactly you're going to be affected in this eclipse season ahead, based off of your unique birth chart, as your entire unique birth chart plays such an important role in how this month will play out for you, then I invite you to book a reading down in the description box below. Chances are, if you're watching this video, this is not the first horoscope you've heard from me. You probably even saw your Pisces 2025 horoscope, and you probably did a reading with me back then. This can be a great time to check in and reassess how life has been so far, to assess where you're now headed. So even if you've done a reading before, these readings are for you. They're meant to provide you practical advice and guidance and give you, so to say, a sounding board, someone to bounce your thoughts off of. So if you need help finding clarity, or if you simply feel like you need to take a moment to pause and reassess where you're headed, readings are for you. Learn more in the description box down below. First, let's talk about the lunar eclipse in Pisces, as it is the first eclipse we are going to be feeling, and the energy is building up to this lunar eclipse in Pisces starting now. Lunar eclipses are accentuated full moons, and full moons have really 2 major themes: culminations, as far as reaping reward and receiving fulfillment in a certain area of our life, but also falling away, and endings. So there really is two major energies here of one is receiving and one is losing, which is oftentimes sounding very contradicting, but these both go hand in hand because full moons represent a full light being shown on the moon. Everything is clear, everything is seen. And when everything is seen, we're able to release what no longer serves us and own what does. So with this lunar eclipse in Pisces happening specifically at 15 degrees on September 7th of 2025, I almost said September 15th, which would have been really off, you can expect culminations, fulfillments, and fated endings and releases regarding your sense of self and who you are and how you appear to the world. I recommend Pisces Sun, Moon, and Rising that you look back to February 27th, roughly, of 2025, end of February, beginning of March. What were you intending and initiating in regards to your sense of self, how you appear to the world, and who you identify as an individual on your own, regardless of others around that time frame? I would guess that many Pisces Sun, Moon, and Risings were saying, I need to be this person. I need to be more independent. I want to be this person who doesn't feel like they need other people. I'm going to be self-sufficient, not even financially, but emotionally, feeling like I am my own person. That is what I would guess was going on for many Pisces Sun, Moon, and Risings around end of February, beginning of March, but maybe I'm really off here. Maybe you were changing something about your appearance. Maybe you were changing who you want to be in a relationship. Maybe you even ended a relationship to be on your own for the sake of something greater. The point is, around the new moon in Pisces that was at the end of February, the new moon in Pisces at the end of February brought up some form of new intention for you regarding your sense of self and your appearance to the world. And now with the lunar eclipse, which is a full moon happening in Pisces on September 7th, you are reaping the rewards for the intentions you set 6 months ago. Funny enough, I had someone say, who the heck, on my channel, like a comment, who the heck remembers 6 months ago? Like, just completely baffled that someone could just recall what happened 6 months ago. So I recommend you look back through your calendar, look through your journals, look through your camera roll. Those can be really great ways to figure out what you were doing around then. Even sometimes looking through your bank statements, honestly, that usually helps me a lot remember what I was doing 6 months ago. Look back to 6 months ago to know what may be fated, closing out, and fulfilled during this lunar eclipse in Pisces. Overall, these shifts are massive for your self-development and aligning you with who you're meant to be. Not only because this is an eclipse, but there is one major point of many involved in this lunar eclipse, which is it's conjunct the north and south node. With the lunar eclipse conjunct the nodes of fate, as it's often interpreted, this is a change and culmination that is aligning you with your soul's purpose and highest path to growth. Given that the North Node in particular is in your sign, Pisces, maybe during this lunar eclipse, you're receiving some sort of reward or fated ending that requires you and enables you to be your highest self. And as much as that sounds stereotypical, what this could mean is some form of change is coming up in your life that means or asks you, that's a better word, asks you to show up as the best version of yourself. We often have those moments in life where we're challenged to communicate better or ask ourselves, what would the better version of myself do? Maybe I wouldn't retaliate. Maybe I would reflect. Maybe I would speak with more compassion. Maybe I would do something rather than be passive. We have those moments often in our life. It feels like we're being tested. This eclipse on the 7th could feel like you're being tested to be the version of yourself that you say you want to be in theory. Or something could be coming up where you realize, aha, turns out I've become the person I wanted to be. So again, because this is a eclipse and a full moon lunar eclipse, this could be something you're receiving or releasing, being asked to receive or release during this eclipse, one or the other or both. So it's hard to interpret which exact one it's going to be, but I would love to hear down in the comments below if you are a Pisces Sun, Moon, or Rising who's already experienced a release, because I hear from many who have strong Piscean placements that they have already, as of now, lost something major, but it seems to be in alignment with who they want to become. Maybe they've been asking to be more wealthy and they lost their low-paying job. Or maybe they've been asked to be in a relationship where they get to be this unconditionally loving individual. And so now they're releasing their critical partner in some form or fashion. So maybe you've been asking to become someone, Pisces, that you've wanted to be, and you may be experiencing a loss because of that. But know that this is happening for you, not to you. Now, really quick, I did focus a lot already about the general themes of this eclipse and the North Node being conjunct this eclipse, but there's a few other factors involved with this eclipse in particular. Another which is Mercury enters Virgo as of September 2nd and is conjunct this lunar eclipse as well. Specifically, that means conjunct the sun. What this means specifically for you Pisces is that over this 2-week period from the 2nd through to the, what would that be? 18th roughly? Is that right? With Mercury in Virgo, you're heightening your communication in your relationships, maybe for the sake of realizing and recognizing critical patterns you want to release in relationships, whether that's being criticized or being critical. The funny dynamic with a Pisces sun, moon, or rising is that there's this natural dynamic that while you see yourself as idealistic and unconditionally loving, you are deeply connected to your opposite sign, Virgo, which means you do have some critical behaviors. You either attract it because of your life experience, or you are critical. You have some form of you that is focused on materialism. You may even feel like, even though you're all this unconditionally loving, spiritual flowing being that just rolls and flows through life, you really want a practical, stable, materialistic relationship where there's material schedules on when you see each other and all the things. Point being, just keep in mind that you are attached to your Virgo direct opposite. And this can be highlighted with Mercury in Virgo. And with Mercury conjunct this lunar eclipse, it may be beneficial to observe and communicate, observe how you communicate in critical, perfectionistic, or materialistic ways that don't take into account spirituality, trust, faith, and surrender. And simply put, having conversations, accentuating conversations in your one-on-one relational dynamics, whether that is romantic partnerships, business partnerships, or friendships, is highly helpful during this time. Now, 2 other aspects that play a role on this lunar eclipse in Pisces. The next one is Saturn stations retrograde into Pisces once again, your sign, on the 1st of the month. Could you tell my brain was working really hard to remember that information? Simply put, I'm going to make this quick. Saturn retrograde in Pisces for this entire eclipse season, but also very prominent with the solar eclipse, which we'll later talk about, is you may be revisiting old restrictions you established and structures you established that maintained your boundaries for who you were. Now, the best way I think to look at this is look back to May of 2025 when Saturn was last in these degrees of Pisces. Where were you establishing boundaries and structures to maintain your boundaries? What kind of disciplines were you enabling? What kind of structure were you trying to establish? These may be coming back for a revisiting thought process or to reinstate, so to say, to see if they still hold any value. This could also mean you may feel restricted in your sense of self as well. And if that is the interpretation that resonates more for you, I would love to hear down in the comments below because I'll keep that in mind for future horoscopes. Finally, the last factor that is playing a role in this lunar eclipse in Pisces is that this lunar eclipse forms a trine/sextile, simply put, very positive aspect to Jupiter in Cancer. Now, Cancer is your 5th house. So what I'm seeing with this is that this whole culmination that's happening, this fated ending and reward receiving time with this lunar eclipse is also playing a role in your passion, pleasure, and creativity. I highly recommend to my Pisces sun, moon, and risings out there to check out my video on Jupiter entering Cancer, which you can find on my playlist called Astrology Forecasts Current Transits, where I talk about how Jupiter in Cancer is playing out for us all, and I believe specifically for you, because with Jupiter positively involved in this eclipse, there could be something positive and expansive coming through in your romance, as well as your passion, your pleasure, and your play. Something is expanding with this lunar eclipse in a very positive way. And I would love to hear down in the comments below what ends up happening for you with this lunar eclipse in this regard. So the first half of Eclipses in Pisces brings up fulfillments, culminations, and realizations regarding your sense of self, where it can feel like aha moments, and this is finally me becoming who I want to be. This is really huge for your self-revelation, personal revelation. But not only do we have the lunar eclipse in your sign, Pisces, we're also going to have, at 29 degrees of the sign, a solar eclipse in Virgo, your direct opposite, and it's going to be very massive for your relationships, both to romantic partners, to business partners, and to friendships. How do you relate to other people, Pisces? You're gonna see how you want to starting on the 21st of September. Eclipses are accentuated new moons, which bring new beginnings in fated, destined ways. Oftentimes during new moon eclipses, we have new things coming into our life, something that feels like it was out of our control and out of left field, but the universe has put on our path to set us on our path. So given that this is happening in your 7th house, and I want to share personal experience with this as well, with a new moon eclipse in Virgo, your opposite, you may be meeting people during this time, friendships, partnerships or business, or even romantic partners who could later become a greater role in your life. In personal example with this, as I am an Aries sun and had lunar eclipses in Libra over the last 2 years, over these last 2 eclipses when I had them in my direct opposite sign, especially the new moon eclipse in Libra, I had new people come into my life who would later turn out to be great close friends and define how I relate to people. It didn't seem like it at first. It seemed like I was meeting a lot of frankly annoying people who I did not want to be friends with. But it took me 6 months later, 6 months after the eclipse, to see, wow, this is really redefined for me what connection can mean, what being understood could mean, and what it could feel like to have a neutral friendship. Now, those are specific themes for me as a Aries with a 7th house Libra energy, neutral, diplomatic. But for you, similar kind of themes could arise in the Virgo setting, where you could meet people who would later turn out to be very important connections. And it may take you 6 months to realize it. Maybe you're faster than me and you'll realize sooner. But nonetheless, it seems like with eclipses in our 7th house, we bring in fated connections. And these could be ones in alignment with the kind of relationships you want to have. It may not appear like it at first, but pay attention to who you communicate with. In the end, the invitation to consciously take into account with a solar eclipse in your opposite sign is to observe, how do I relate to others and how does this make me feel about myself? That is the question I wish someone had posed to me back when we had solar eclipses in my opposite sign. Overall, a solar eclipse at 29 degrees of Virgo is a critical, powerful degree, and it brings up fated finales, so to say. So it's an interesting energy here because it's a new moon, but it's also at 29 degrees. And so this means that whatever you initiate or gets initiated during this time could play a massive role on your life. So with the new moon in Virgo, I would recommend you do think about Pisces sun, moon, and rising. What kind of relationships and connections do I want to have? How can I make them stable and secure rather than critical and materialistic? And this new moon solar eclipse in Virgo directly opposes Pisces, Saturn in Pisces retrograde in your sign, therefore. And so there's going to be a bit of a feeling of a push-pull dynamic here between what is responsible and sets boundaries with the world, between you and the world, and maybe what you're being invited to do as far as connecting with others. So keep that in mind. With that all in mind, Pisces sun, moon, and rising, you simply put have a very intense month ahead, and it starts now on April 23rd roughly, which is probably not exactly the date that this is going to be published on, but we can feel the energies now, simply put, of eclipse season. So what is my advice to you to prepare for this intense month plus ahead, and your overall key takeaways? Pisces sun, moon, and rising, you are in the spotlight. And I wish, honestly, the piece of advice someone would have told me when I had eclipses in my sign is you have no idea where you're being taken, and you don't need to know. The universe has your back, and it's going to figure things out for you. Anything that happens to you during this time is actually happening for you. This is to align you with, so to say, the energies you are meant to embrace as a Pisces. Whether Pisces is your sun, your moon, and your rising, and or your rising, you are meant to be one of the idealists of the world. You're meant to be a dreamer. You're meant to be a creative in some form or fashion. You're meant to follow the path of least resistance. You're meant to be that flowing fish, Pisces, going downstream with the energies of the universe in a natural way. And so whatever happens during this eclipse season is meant to align you with this path. You can't get it wrong. You'll never get it done. What I do recommend in practical advice for my Pisceans out there is to reflect on how far you've come in your expectations in relationships to others, as well as the boundaries you set for yourself. And also set intention of who do you want to be and who do you want to be surrounded by. and keep your eyes open to the possibilities that surround you. That is the dominant advice I feel attuned to sharing with you, Pisces. There is more we can add, but I'm going to leave it at that. So Pisces, sun, moon, and rising, let me know down in the comments below. Is Pisces your sun, your moon, and or your rising? Did this advice resonate for you? Did this video help you? And remember that this is just your Pisces, sun, moon, and or rising. Your whole birth chart plays a unique role on how this eclipse will uniquely affect you. So if you are someone who has desires or struggles, these readings are for you. Book a reading down in the description box below, where in 1 hour or half an hour, we can dive deep into how these eclipses will affect you, how you can align with your soul's purpose during these eclipses, and how you can align with these eclipses to attract your desires and practically work towards them. If you're looking for advice, if you're looking for guidance, readings are meant for you. They're really more of consultations and coaching sessions, but readings are the simplistic way to describe them. So book a reading down in the description box below, and be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Stay tuned for more videos. Let me know what you want to hear about next on the channel. Let me know what your sun, moon, and rising is, and I'll be sure to create eclipse season horoscopes soon for your sign. Thank you guys so much for watching. I sincerely hope you enjoyed. Once again, my name's Isabel, and from my heart to yours, namaste.